Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. I'm finally connecting with Erin with Historical Travel Adventures. I know we've been emailing probably back and forth for a couple years now.
Years. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's how quickly time flashes past us. So, welcome, Erin. Thank you for having a conversation today with me.
no problem. Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
historical travel adventures. I mean, I love the title, I love history myself. So tell us about that origin, like where that started. I know we were talking a little bit before we went on camera and
Yeah. Um, well, way back when, I always grew up and I loved history. I'd sit down with my granddad in Ireland and he would tell me all the old stories and things like that. I love to hear all the ancient stories that went on. I had a passion for history. So growing up, I always had a passion for history. I even so much as like even before this whole thing, I lived on a sailboat with my mom and her boyfriend in the Caribbean. So I had a tutor. So the tutor, they gave me a book, and I actually still have this book from Calvert schooling systems from way back when. That it was an ancient history book. It's like it tells you from the start of everything, and it fascinated me. And I still have it till this day, 50
wow.
something years later. But I always loved history. I love travel. I love seeing, do, and experience things. But to be honest, when your Irish mammy tells you you have to go to college for finance, you go to college for finance. So I ended up being a financial controller. So I was actually one of the youngest financial controllers for a Fortune 500 company. I was
Wow.
35. So, but now I had worked in Boston. I was supposed to be on a flight in September of 2011. Obviously, we know that fateful day. But I was supposed to be on that flight, and 3 days before, I said, "You guys are not ready for the meeting." I canceled the meeting, and then I was in my office that day at like 7 o'clock in the morning. So that flight that hit the first tower was going to be my flight.
Wow.
I didn't heed that first morning the way I look at it. I just went and continued doing what I was doing in finance and working, and then I moved to Kentucky and I got work there and Virginia and then Kentucky. But then it ended up being that I was getting on a flight, I was finishing off a quarter close, I rushed and doing things. I ran for the flight, got on a flight, and I've been flying my entire life. I've been going back and forth from Boston to Ireland every year, every summer. We flew everywhere. I flew to Dubai, but you always had a double layover before going from the UK to Dubai. But this particular flight, we were up and down over mountain ranges quick. So Kentucky to North Carolina up to Boston, to New England. It was after Manchester, New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I have to slow my words because I do still have a lisp when I get excited.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
on that second flight, the first flight I got an air pocket stuck in my head. I
Oh my
didn't know. It took them a year and a half later, but that flight was my complete restart. I had 7 strokes. Well, it says 7.5. To me, if it's one extra, I had 8 strokes as far as
yes.
I'm concerned. I have
Yeah.
8 dead spots in my brain. I had to relearn how to walk. I had to relearn how to talk. So I was literally starting fresh again from free college, free everything. So I was back to where I started. And I do still have deficits now, but I was 35. I was too young to sit back and not do anything. So I was completely a fighter. So I do have deficits still as speech impediment. I limp, I walk funny, I have a crimp on my hand. But to me, it's a reminder. The biggest reminder is if you have a passion for something, go for it. You know, if it's not meant for you, it's not going to pass you by. So all of this put me back as I finished rehab and we moved from Kentucky. I had speech therapy in Kentucky, so no one's going to get my accents. It could be South Boston, New York. It could be Ireland. It could be, Kentucky or a Virginia accent. I have my own continental
Yeah, I
divides.
love that.
So, but and have a little slur every so often that completely throws you off. But To be honest, the biggest thing for me is it taught me don't give up. I struggled every time I left a rehab. I went left someplace. I left something there, you know. And finally, when I was finally just on a cane, I said, no, keep it. If I fall down again, I need to learn how to get back up without having a crutch.
Right.
So that was my thing. I fought. And then I got back when we moved to Virginia. I got back involved in history again. So I worked with a local group and we started the renovations of a historical train location in Remington, Virginia, which was visited by two presidents. It had the most skirmishes going back and forth across the Rappahannock River. So I engaged with the Civil War history. Then I got involved with the journey through hallowed ground, and that stretched me further. So I was full on tourism from Gettysburg to Monticello,
Oh,
you
wow.
know. So, and it was bringing tourism, bringing things to life that people don't really have any idea about. I lived in the tiniest town. If you walked probably, I don't know, from one side of a small town to another, cut that in threes, and that's how big the town was. There was only 7 buildings from one end of the town to the other.
Wow.
It was that small, but it had the most skirmishes during the Civil War, fighting for the Rappahannock River, you know. So it brought up my passion again. So we started traveling more, my husband and I. You know, we had the house in Virginia, then we came to Ireland, and a year later we went back to Virginia, and he says, "Oh, I could live there." And I said, "Oh, really?"
Yeah.
That happened. He goes, "How does you do that?" I'm like, "Because I'm an Irish citizen."
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
you know what? We just said, you know what? Life is too short. It's time to move on. It's time to just get up and go, get up and do
Yeah.
something. I put it out there that the house was going to sell quick. You know, we were going to move and live in Ireland. Our house sold so quick, we put it on the market on the Friday just for the agents, and we have 8 offers on the Monday.
Wow.
Obviously, we took the most money, and that was it, you know. And I was like,
Yeah.
so we actually lived in a camper for a year before we moved to Ireland. You know, we actually tried going around and we did camp hosting.
Mm-hmm.
So the different campgrounds, and you are work campers, you
Right,
know.
right.
So
Yeah.
you stay there for free or a small fee and you work.
Yeah.
You get to know, you learn different things about where you're at, people, places. I met people from all across the country, you know, and they would do
Right.
the same thing, you know. It just get out there and live your life. So we finally moved to Ireland, and from Ireland, um, we were here, and it was, you know, slow going. I got involved in the local heritage group here, and I volunteered first. Then I started working for them. Then I worked for the OPW, which is OPW is, you know, Office of Public Works, but they are the ones in charge of all these castles that you
Right.
see, the refurbishments, the rebuildings of them, and things like that. Then I went back to school. So not only did I get my archaeology degree, I went and got my national tourism.
Oh, wow.
So my national tourism, I already got a certified tourism ambassador for the United States for anything to do with the historical landmarks, trades, historical trails, and things like that. That was my certification in the States. I came here and got my national tour guiding, which gave you full certification from not only Ireland, but the EU, Northern Ireland, Scotland, England, and Wales.
Oh, nice.
So, and then after that, between those two certifications, I did get an extension one for the EU, but it only covers Italy. So
Mm,
for now,
right,
I still
right.
have a few more countries to hit, but that's something I like to, that's just so fun.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
That's just the fun part.
exactly. But I noticed, I mean, even when I brought my husband here to Ireland, we did our own thing for a few weeks. And last week I said, I'm just going to get on the bus and tour with everyone else and give them a bit of, you know, a taste of Ireland.
Yeah.
But I noticed a lot of places, they only went to the big places, you know, the big conglomerate places. And there's so much more to see and do in Ireland. There's easy traveling, there's easy places to stay, smaller B&Bs, food experiences. Go and stay, help out for an afternoon making some Irish bread, and then sit down and put a pair of wellies on, and you can actually help and do things like doing the muscles,
Yeah, yeah. No,
muscle
that's
arm.
the way
So,
to experience
yeah,
Ireland or a
and
place.
it's cool because you can do it in small groups,
Yes.
much smaller groups. You're bringing people, and it's a personal thing. I don't have a big truck or van, you know. I am the chauffeur. But to me, it's a matter of doing small bespoke tours
Yes, yes.
to keep bringing history to life, you know, bring our past into the future. And because as far as I'm concerned, the biggest part for me is when you look at the past, you see how things have gone. You know what I
Yes.
mean? You see
Right.
the full flow, and it's so much better to see things like that in Europe, in Ireland, England, Scotland, Wales, and like Europe itself. Because the United States were so young, we're
Yes.
babies, infants compared to here.
Right,
You know,
right,
it's like
right.
the fact that you can just go and touch a wall and say, wow, a Roman touched this, or,
Yes. Yeah.
I'm stepping on the footsteps of some other place. Like for me, I think I have such a passion for it. I went to Italy for some training and travel for my other travel business, which I'm an agent. But I went there, we did some training, and they said, can someone do a tour of this particular spot? So I did a quick read up and I said, oh, I can do that. So I took these people on a tour of an old archaeology site. It was an old city, a Roman city called Paestum,
Wow.
and it was in Italy in the Amalfi Coast.
Mm-hmm.
So we did, but I am such a geek that you can go off the path. It was allowed. I didn't do anything I wasn't supposed to, but because I saw one type of etching in a stone,
Right.
in a rush to go get it, full frontal face plant, the whole bit.
Oh no.
So I have now officially left a tooth and half of my face in an archaeology site in Italy.
Oh no.
I got my tooth picked though.
Right, yeah, you did get it fixed up.
I'm
So tell
so
us,
passionate about it. It's all about living and
right,
showing
right,
people the
right.
things. It's nice.
So what are some of your own tours that you're leading, and are you leading them just in Ireland or different places around the world?
I do some in Ireland. A lot of them I base it on what people do for what I sit down and talk to someone because you want to know. I mean, there was one family, they didn't want me to take them, but they wanted me to create a tour for them. They wanted to just do B&Bs, but they wanted to know they were from California,
Uh-huh.
and their family worked on the railroads. Before the railroads, they were in Connemara. They
Oh,
actually worked in the mines in Connemara.
oh wow.
So I did a bespoke tour of where they could have gone or their travels type of thing. So they only wanted to know, I did the tours around local areas. We gave them a full experience down in one of the mines.
Oh, really? Wow.
Got to say, look, this is where the turf was. The tour itself that I created for them was basically from underground to above ground to digging underground to move
Wow.
forward.
Yeah.
So I create their own family tours.
Right, you're doing then like
Everything is
boutique,
individual.
right,
Yeah,
and it's individual,
sequence.
custom to the client. Got it.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I've done the other tour I did was the one to Italy. I was only doing one and two. I had a short amount of time to read it, but that was based on me as a travel agent. I went there to train and learn. I sat in a room with people that told us about the area and things going on. Then they said, could you give a tour of this historical
Right.
site? This gentleman could not go with us.
Right. Oh,
Because
wow.
of my background, I was able to do it and be able to speak about it. So it was nice.
Yeah. But if someone did contact you for like Ireland and wanted a driver, then would you also be willing to do the driving for them, or you connect
Yes,
them with
or I
someone.
could always, if they had a small group, I would hire a driver and
Because
do it that way,
I
you
think
know.
for Americans, driving is one thing that can be a little challenging in Ireland with the opposite.
I do have to say, for any American, I'm not going to say don't drive here, but I will tell you, when you first arrive, get in a hotel, stay here for 1 or 2 days, get acclimated for the positioning of the road and things go on, and then drive. Because you're flying overnight, when you get here in the morning, people say, "Oh, it's okay, I'm fresh. I slept on the plane." How much sleep did you actually get on that 5 hour flight,
Right.
or the 7 hour flight? I don't think you slept that much because we probably had a few sippies and a dinner, and there's noises, and you're not
Oh,
getting a
you're
decent
not.
sleep.
No, you're not getting sleep.
You sort of in like I don't know, it's sort of like a comfortably numb.
Yeah.
When you get here, but you're excited, So my best recommendations is do not drive. I'm just saying, get here, get a hotel close to, like, a few times away from the airport or close to the airport. You can still get back to the airports, whether it be Dublin, Cork, um, Knock, or Shannon. So
Oh,
you can get to those as well as Belfast, get to the hotel, stay overnight for a day or two, and then you're acclimated and you're saying, "Oh, this is here." You're seeing the roundabouts go in the opposite directions. You're
yes.
figuring out what these means, grid lines mean. Don't go across them. It's just a matter of getting acclimated for a day or two and then rent cars. But
Right.
rent for the luggage you have, the least amount of luggage you can wash clothes anywhere.
Right.
Small is better, easier. Obviously the smaller vehicles are better on some of the roads. We do have great motorways, but they're few and far between. So you can go from one tiny narrow road that only fits one car, and there's a tractor coming towards you. You need to be small enough to be able to move it backwards. So
Right. Well, that and to
don't.
me, all the most interesting things are often off those little narrow roads. That's where the
They're always off
small,
off the beaten path. That's
yes.
my thing. Off the beaten path tours, off the beaten path locations. You're going to see more ruins.
Yes, exactly.
Anywhere else. It's way off in the distance. You see it, but it's all dirt roads that go to them.
And
So
those are going to be the smaller towns and communities where the locals more are. I mean, if you're just going to some of the larger places, you might be there with a couple other big tour buses.
yeah, and to be honest, like, Dublin's nice, but me personally, I'm not a fan of Dublin. And I'm sorry for everyone who loves Dublin, but it's a city. You know, I grew up in Boston, New York. Those are big cities, but Dublin is, to be honest, Dublin is sort of like New York on steroids, to be honest, because it's chaotic. There's things going 24/7. New York is 24/7, but every street goes this way or that way.
Mm-hmm.
Dublin, you have this way, that way, this way.
I know,
So
it's crazy.
there's a lot going on in Dublin, and you want to see so many things, but you're going to miss so much. So, and there's a great book out there called Back Roads of Dublin
Ooh, that sounds
that
good.
it would actually show you different tiny locations. If you see a monument or a placard or something like that, it does show. And I have a list of different things that people are planning here. I have a list of books. I can get
Oh,
that to you too,
yes,
you know,
get me the list of books and we can
about.
share that in the notes and
Yeah.
stuff. So, what are some of your favorite places in Ireland? To me, Ireland is just packed full of places to see, and you can't do it justice in just like a week or 10 days. You need either
No,
multiple
I mean,
trips
my
or.
husband and I've been here now just under 7 years, and I still have not even gotten him down to Cork.
Oh, really?
So,
Oh, wow.
so there's so many great places. Like, people miss a lot on the west coast of Ireland. They say, "Oh, it's the wild and windy west." It is the wild and windy west, but it is the true Ireland, I think. The west coast is the true Ireland. A lot of people say, down in Killarney. Killarney's wonderful. Killarney's busy though. Go further around. Go the Dingle Peninsula. You know,
Mhm.
make sure you know the right direction to go around the Dingle Peninsula, because otherwise you could hit a bus going the opposite direction, and it's quite narrow. So,
Oh.
so when all else fails, take the option to the left.
Okay.
Anyhow, so the Dingle Peninsula in Ireland and the West Coast again. Galway is a beautiful city. Go out to Connemara. It is the true Ireland. Go up the coast from Connemara up into Mayo. Westport is a beautiful city. I'd stay there one night, but move out. Go to Achill Island. You can see the deserted villages still there.
Oh, wow. Really?
The famine when people moved. There's a deserted village there. We have islands off the coast. Everyone knows about the Aran Islands, but they don't really know about Clare Island. There's other islands off the coast that still show deserted villages and things like that, if you're passionate about that, you know. Along the west coast, you'll get a lot of places that you can learn how they fish,
Mm.
how they make the Galway hookah roads, things like that. You know, the food experience, the going to see how they harvest the mussels,
Oh,
what
wow.
they do, come during a mussels festival, you know, or oyster festival, you
Oh,
know,
that's
things like that.
fascinating. Yeah.
Really neat. And if you're going up the coast, go up to Donegal, give it time. It's completely different kind of temperatures there. That's the nice way of saying it. So you can get four seasons in the course of half a day, and the
Wow.
other. So it depends on where, when, timing wise, you know.
Yeah.
Best time to travel here is from March until June.
Okay.
After that, it is unstable. But even coming in October, you get the true wild and windy west, you know. Donegal, do the whole peninsula of Donegal, you know. Don't just go Donegal town and that's it. Go along the coast, Killybegs, head up, go and see Malin Head, you know,
Hmm.
see where a lot of ancestors came in through Scotland. The
Right.
rugged looks, the rugged coast, you know. The northern coast, going up and through over to Belfast. We call it the Game of Thrones tour.
Yeah.
Um, that's a good place to be, you know, or even coming and going straight through Midlands. In the Midlands, you have the Shannon River. So coming up through the Midlands, you can actually rent a boat
Oh,
and
really?
go up the Shannon, you know, and cat sleep.
Oh.
There's going to ports there. It's great. So there's a lot more to see in the small rural areas in the Midlands and the West Coast than people think. People
Hmm.
think Bunratty Castle, the Blarney Stone. Obviously, you have to go see the Cliffs of Moher
Right,
because
right.
it's absolutely phenomenal. You cannot miss that. So, but that just guarantees I'll see you on the West.
Right, exactly. It gets them over to the west, exactly.
Exactly.
So when are some of the festivals that you enjoy going or would recommend? Because those sound fascinating, like the mussels, and I'm sure there might even be
Yeah.
some artisan festivals where again more locals are coming out and
Well,
showcasing.
there's loads of festivals here. So you have a lot of music and food festivals that go on here. Again, they begin March and April and
Okay.
go up to October, you know. So I can get you a listing of some of them. Obviously, there's a phenomenal food festival down in Cork.
Ooh.
Started in Cork and work your way up, or started north and work your way down. It's really nice, you know.
Yeah, that sounds fabulous.
Mm.
Are there other places? I mean, October, you talked about October. What is it like in Ireland in October? I think, see, I like traveling in the spring and the fall. You avoid a lot of the extra families out there, just to put it bluntly, that,
Yeah, nicely, you avoid the tourists.
yes.
So I completely understand that. Like you love tours, you love tourism, you love having people book travel from you
Yes,
and do the tours, but it's so nice to see and do things when it's not so busy. So
right,
yeah,
right.
I understand that. But October is actually nice. The weather may not be nice, but it doesn't get freezing Baltic cold here, you
Mm-hmm.
know. It gets damp and windy, you know. So obviously it's rainy, but I would have to say, if you can, you probably couldn't get a room or booking anywhere near this year for Derry. But if you try and book now or soon for Derry in October,
Oh.
they do they line the walls as people dressed up as witches
Oh, really?
for Halloween.
Oh.
So obviously they don't celebrate. They do now celebrate Halloween like they do in the States, but before it used to just be Samhain, or Samhain, Samhain.
Explain
So
that.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they do still celebrate those things, but I have to say the best place is Donegal and Derry, anywhere up the north for that, and also Scotland.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then Hogme is the New Year's, and when you go off to Scotland, they do the fire dance, they do the fireballs. It's phenomenal. So they take all these ancient traditions and they keep them going forward. You know, the day after Christmas, St. Stephen's Day. It's the day of the wren. You've spent Christmas Day with your family. You go off to see neighbors and friends and touch base with them. You bring a bottle or you bring a cup of tea or a cake, and
Oh, nice.
and there were days that they called them the Wren Boys. They used to dress up in costume that they look like it would be part of a Halloween costume because a lot of it was the hay and grass,
Right.
but they were scaring the spirits, and it was just so there are a lot of ancient traditions that still go on here. So it's nice. So certain holidays, look up and see what's there, what's going to happen if you're planning a trip, and anytime you can share my personal Facebook page to anyone, shoot me a message. I am happy to help you plan, give you discount, like how you can get discounts and things like that, or the best places to go and stay.
Right.
Some places that look like a hole in the wall have the best food, the best staff, and that people don't know about because everyone always goes to the fabulous locations. And you know
Right. Right.
to me, a 5 star isn't necessarily 5 star. I It takes a lot for me to get 5 stars, and I've given 5 stars or more to places that are much smaller. They give
Exactly.
you more personal service, and you're getting a home cooked meal, and
Yes. Thank you.
the,
Yes.
the rooms are clean. It might be old, but it's clean. You can actually tell it's clean. It's not run down and battered.
Right. Right.
It looks like it from the outside, but the inside is magnificent. So, like when I travel around, I stay in someplace different each time I go to a certain place.
Yeah, and I love that. I love the home, the bed and breakfast. A lot of them that are in these historical places, but yes, they
Yeah,
do. They go all out to give you that home cooked meal, which is really fresh and really amazing. I've had better experiences in some of those, I agree, than something that's larger and they're trying to appeal to many more people.
yeah. And unfortunately, I'm in hospitality. I've worked in hospitality for years, and to be honest, a lot of customer service and hospitality feel is gone.
Yes,
You're just
thank
a
you.
number to them in some of these hotels. And it is saddening to see. And yes, a lot of that had to do with COVID, separation, and things like that. Everyone's trying to make up for money. But just by trying to make up money, that doesn't work for me. I still want the quality and
Yeah, and the
the
personal
service.
touch. Yeah,
I'm
right.
just a number. I might be, to you, but I want someone to acknowledge, your existence and
Right.
quality.
Yeah. Oh, this has been super informative, Erin. So please share your website and where people can reach you. So if they need you to design a personal, amazing experience to Ireland, they can reach out to you.
Okay, I will. Thank you so much for this.
So your website is going.
Well, I have the website I don't have a website for booking the tours. I do those
Oh,
actually on the Facebook page because
oh,
everything
okay.
is individually. To help people book tours, I have a booking agent portal, but that's just to
Oh,
book travel, or I can book travel with you. me personally, I'd rather touch base with someone on a personal level, figure out exactly what they want. They might say they want
Right.
to go camping, but they don't want to rough it.
Right. Yeah,
They don't
exactly.
want a gîte. They don't want a little thing, but they want a nice little cabin with a bathroom and shower inside instead of walking down the street. So I'd rather someone reach out to me personally, help me figure out a
Yeah,
custom way.
really get to know what
Yeah,
they want.
yeah.
So
I am
they should
working
reach
on the
out to,
landing page. Yeah.
okay, so should they use the, because you have a historical travel adventures Facebook page,
Yep.
so they could message you
They can
there?
contact there or they can contact me at Erin Hartney on Facebook. I think
Erin
it's Erin
Hartney?
F. Hartney on
Okay.
Facebook. You can
We'll
use
put
both
that
of those.
because it on the screen is going to say Erin McLaughlin. So Hartney, Hartney.
Yes,
Okay.
it's Erin F. Yeah.
All right. So we'll put that all in the show notes, Erin. Thank you so much for your time.
And thank you so much, everyone. Finally, it's good to
I
finally
know.
connect after so
Finally
many years
connect. I know.
chat messaging back and forth
I
all the
know.
time.
I know exactly. So I hope
And
people reach out
and
to you.
if anyone comes, even if you don't use me, get in touch with me, me you're coming to Ireland. I'm happy to go have a couple with you or take you
Yes.
someplace nice.
Yeah. And we'll get those book lists from you too, because I love the book
I
suggestions
will
as
get
well.
those. Okay.
All right. Thanks,
Well,
Erin.
have a good day, guys. Bye.